We just talked about how to prepare a questionnaire for collecting data for your study, for your project. Questionnaire is a tool, we had taught it. An interview is a technique, an activity. Now we can just look at interview. How to conduct an interview for collecting data from your sample. Sample means a group of people from whom you want to get some data for your project. What are the different factors which you have to be keeping in your mind, which you have to be careful about when you're conducting an interview with a person to collect some data? The first thing is that you should create a very good rapport with them. Rapport means intimacy. People will be ready to openly speak something only to some people with whom they have got some intimacy. First of all, you have to create that intimacy. Technically, it is called creating rapport. Means you should ask some questions, some personal questions. You should make some casual talks before starting the actual interview. So this is very important. Creating a rapport with your respondent through some friendly attitude and asking some casual questions, sharing some personal life experiences, personal interests. Then, as in the case of questionnaire, here also you should make use of simple sentences. Never make use of complex sentences. When we were talking about the difference between spoken language and written language, we told that in spoken language you can make use of long sentences with compound and complex clauses. But in spoken language, you cannot use long sentences with complex and compound clauses because the listener will not be getting enough time to decode what you're communicating. So if you're asking some questions by using some complex sentences, the listener may be confused. The listener may not be able to follow what you're asking. So just use simple sentences. Then another thing which you have to be careful about is eye contact. You should look at the eyes of the person. Because you should ensure whether the information given by the respondent is accurate or not. If you ask about his father, if you ask, do you like your father? Sometimes he may be answering yes. But if you look at his eyes, you can realize that it's a lie. Because you can see the fear in his eyes or on his face. So you should keep right eye contact. And eye contact also will be helping you in getting his attention. If you are asking a question and if you are looking here and there, then the respondent will be feeling that this person himself is not interested to get the information. Then why should I give information? So it has got different advantages. So just try to keep right eye contact. Then, when you ask some questions, you have to make use of correct voice modulation, just for creating interest in the minds of your respondents. And you should make use of accurate facial expressions. When you ask some questions, if you have to show wonder, then you have to show wonder. And when they give the answer, if you feel that it's something interesting, then you should show the interest on your face. So you should make use of correct facial expression. And similarly, when they give answers for some questions, you should not show any sort of insulting attitude on your face or in your words. Actually, you're interviewing the person just for getting data, not for judging him. You have to get some data for your project. And if you insult him in between the interview, at the final stage of the interview, he will not be giving you the accurate information. So never show any sort of insulting tendency when they are giving some answers. When they are giving some answers which you feel that something unnatural, you should be glad because they are ready to openly give answers for your questions. That is something important. And another thing which you have to keep in your mind is that your question should be clear. Don't create any confusion in the mind of your respondents. As in the case of the questionnaire, you should create a comfortable atmosphere for the person. Then when you interview a person for collecting data, you should ensure that no one else is listening to the interview. You should select such a place. It should be quiet. It should be away from others. No one else should be getting any idea about what the respondent is answering. And at the same time, you should scribble the points which the person is giving. I mean, you should make notes. Note making should be used. And if you are able to keep a recording device in your hand, just record the information. Because you may not be able to write each and every point when the person is giving answers. The person is explaining his experiences, his views, his interests, his tastes. So just keep a recording device in your hand. And you should look at the body language of the person. By observing the body language, you can collect some data just like you are able to collect data from his eyes, from his face. So this is all these factors should be kept in your mind when you are conducting an interview. And before that, before coming to the interview, you should have an excellent homework. You should decide in advance which questions you would ask. And during the interview, you should be able to ask sub questions. And these sub questions may not be there in your already prepared questions. Because you should be able to ask questions on the basis of the information given by the respondents. That's also important because you can get more and more accurate information by asking some sub questions to your respondent. So all these things are important when you are organizing an interview, when you are conducting an interview for collecting data from your sample. So interview is a technique. Interview is a technique used in projects when the study is qualitative. And sometimes in quantitative study also interview can be used. So it's an effective technique for collecting data from your sample. Thank you.